At midnight, a group of people in Scotland headed to a cemetery that everyone fears approaching due to the terrifying phenomena that occur there. During their visit, they encountered something horrific and extremely frightening, and they actually managed to capture a photo of it. If you watch this video until the end, you will see the picture and learn its story. Today, you're in for a real, documented horror story, a true ghost story backed by evidence. So I ask you to pay close attention to this episode. Perhaps you'll discover the secret yourself. And before we begin, if this is your first time watching this channel, and you're a fan of scary, strange, and mysterious stories, then you're in the right place. So don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. On a dark November night in 1999, a man named Reverend Colin Grant, 66 years old, opened a large iron gate to an old cemetery called Greyfriars Kirkyard in Edinburgh, Scotland. This cemetery is not just any cemetery. It is one of the oldest and most famous in the country. It was completely dark, lit only by a few old iron lanterns along the sides, illuminating a stone-paved path running through the middle of the graveyard. Colin began walking inside, surrounded by tombstones, some dating back to the 17th century. In the darkness, he saw a large Gothic-style building, a church located at the center of the cemetery. From the first glance, the cemetery appeared old and frightening, but Colin knew that beneath the ground were even greater horrors. A full crypt used for the mass burial of thousands of people who were tortured to death centuries ago, some dying of starvation, buried without names or gravestones. Colin felt a heavy weight on his chest as he advanced, but he remembered the reason he came. The municipality had asked him to perform a ritual to expel evil spirits from the cemetery. Colin wasn't an ordinary priest. He claimed to be a spiritualist with special abilities and the power to communicate with spirits. That's why he was chosen for this dangerous task. He wasn't alone. A journalist and a photojournalist accompanied him to document what would happen. They continued walking until they reached a structure called the Black Mausoleum, a terrifying stone building with a rounded dome, built in the late 17th century. The closer Colin got to it, the more he felt a tremendous weight, as if something was pulling him down, until he stopped a few meters away, unable to move forward. He looked at the journalist and the photographer and found them unaffected, as if they felt nothing at all. Colin asked the photographer to take a picture of the mausoleum. She raised her camera and captured the shot as he asked. Then he began moving toward the mausoleum and read the name engraved on the door, George Mackenzie. His heart pounded violently. Who was George Mackenzie? In the 17th century, Mackenzie was a Scottish lord who worked for the King of England, enforcing strict religious laws. A group called the Covenanters rebelled against those laws in 1679, but their rebellion failed. Mackenzie imprisoned over 1,000 people in a nearby field, the site that later became Greyfriars Cemetery. He tortured and starved them for weeks, and those who tried to escape were executed by beheading. The place turned into a hellscape surrounded by corpses and heads on spikes. Hundreds of years later, Mackenzie's luxurious mausoleum was built just steps away from the mass graves of his victims. For 3 centuries, the cemetery remained quiet until 1998, when a homeless man entered the Black Mausoleum and accidentally fell into a mass crypt beneath it. From that moment, the curse began. Visitors spoke of terrifying experiences, voices, shoving, choking, scratches, even strange burns. It was said that Mackenzie's evil spirit had been released. One day, a young woman was found unconscious in front of the mausoleum. When she awoke, she remembered nothing, but strange strangulation marks were on her neck. That's when the municipality decided to intervene and asked Colin to perform the exorcism ritual. Colin stood in front of Mackenzie's mausoleum, stunned by the place's dread, but unable to enter. So he decided to start in the field where Mackenzie's victims were buried. He walked in circles, sprinkling holy water and chanting prayers. The photographer, Susan Pearl, began taking pictures. The ritual continued for hours, until 2 a.m. Suddenly, Colin stopped and said, "I have failed." He explained that he had planned to confront Mackenzie's spirit, but couldn't. Instead, he tried to free the victims' souls and succeeded in releasing 200 of them, but no longer had the energy to continue the ritual. The 3 of them left the cemetery, and when they passed by the church, Colin said he felt a renewed energy. He opened his Bible, began chanting again, sprinkled holy water, then took out 12 candles and arranged them around a large stone cross. He stood in the center of the circle, lit the candles, and started reading loudly. The journalist and photographer noticed the candle flames were trembling unusually, despite the lack of wind. When Colin pointed a candle toward the Black Mausoleum, his demeanor changed completely, and his voice grew louder. Susan raised the camera and took a picture. When the camera flash lit the scene, Colin collapsed to the ground and whispered, "He will kill me. He will kill me." When Susan looked at the photo she had taken, she was shocked. Colin was standing with the candle in his hand, the church behind him, and in its northern window appeared a mysterious figure watching him from inside. The church, as confirmed by everyone, was completely locked and empty. That photo was terrifying, but it was not the end of the story. Shortly after the incident, Colin died suddenly, without any clear medical cause. He had been in good health, but after that night, he collapsed and died. The photo Susan took still stirs fear to this day, and no one has been able to prove it was faked. Visitors still leave the cemetery with injuries and bruises, claiming they were attacked by an invisible force. It is said that this entity is the ghost of George Mackenzie, one of the most dangerous evil spirits in the world. And with that, we reach the end of our story. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to support us with a like and a share. Tell us what you think. Do you believe that the figure in the photo was truly the ghost of George Mackenzie? Until we meet again with new stories, I wish you a quiet night, and goodbye.